Stay tuned for Airgun Detectives.
Welcome to another episode of Airgun Detectives. I'm your host, JC, and today we get to take the mystery out of the AEA Challenger Pro. They offer this in 22, 25, 30, and 35 caliber. But what's different about this one, it is fully regulated. And in addition to that, it has an adjustable transfer port. But anyway, we're going to get into this. But before we do that, do me a favor if you hadn't already, hit that subscribe button down in the corner. It doesn't cost you anything. It's absolutely free, but it really helps support the channel. Also, when you have the opportunity, check out my website, www.airgundetectives.com. On that site, I've got my t-shirts, I've got hats, I got the Generation 2 bipods. We just got those back in stock. And I have a limited number of these compact scopes. I got a really good deal on it, and I'm just blowing them out. I'm sharing it with you guys. All right, so let's get back to our AEA Challenger Pro. Once again, got this bad boy from the pellet shop out of New York. Pretty awesome outfit, so if you guys are interested in these, that's a place you can go. Anyway, but let's talk about the specifics on this. Okay, this is a PCP rifle, pre-charged pneumatic. And I said before, it has a fully adjustable regulator. And if you stay tuned to the very end of the review, in my conclusion, I'm going to show you how to adjust the regulator. Anyway, it also has an adjustable transfer port, which is really great. You can see that right here. And that just adjusts the amount of air that flows through that transfer port, in addition to the regulator, so you can really fine-tune this. Anyway, this rifle has a 24-inch barrel. They do sell, and this is additional, but they sell an adapter for this barrel for a 1/2 by 20, so you can put a suppressor on that. So that's an option for you. Anyway, the rifle itself is about 37 inches overall. It's got this really cool tactical stock that can collapse on here, and then it's fully adjustable for length of pull. The gun overall is 37 inches, weighs about 8 pounds. It does not come with these bipods. I threw these on here just because it makes a nice display setting for you. It's got a nice big 350 cc tank. Now this one is a 4,500 PSI max fill on this. So you max fill it, then you set your regulator, or however you want to set up your gun. And we'll get into more of that later on. It does come with 2 magazines. The 22 caliber has, these are 12 round magazines, so you got 2 magazines. And then it comes with a fill probe, and then you have your regulated gauge here on the side, and then your tank pressure gauge on the bottom. So keep you dialed in there. There we go. So you have a Picatinny rail adapter. It's 11mm dovetail, but it comes with this nice Picatinny rail adapter, so you can put whatever type of optics that you want on this. The gun, obviously, it's a side cocking lever. Yes, it can be decocked. I like to cover that, which is always nice. It can be decocked. Other than that, these are pretty powerful, but we'll get into the specifics here in a minute. Because the key is, like anything else, this thing looks really cool. It really does. And the features are amazing, but how well do they work? Well, stay tuned for the next segment, and we're going to answer all those questions. All right, let's test our Challenger Pro here for some velocity. And we're not going to just do a lightweight pellet in here. We're going to use a full 25 grain, our HP, the slugs by H&N. So we're going to try our hollow point slugs, 25 grain, shoot 5 shots over the crony, show you what a real world velocity is and what our foot-pounds of energy is out of this. So 5 shots. See how well we do. All right. Shot number 1. That's 1137. And shot number 2. 1132. Shot number 3. 1128. Shot number 4. 1126. And shot number 5. 1131. There you go. There's your average velocity and your foot-pounds of energy. Not too shabby, that's for sure. All right, let's move on to the next segment. All right, let's do a little accuracy test with our AEA Challenger Pro. We're going to be shooting a little bit over 40 yards out. I'll show you that in 1 second. But we're going to be using our splatterburst targets again. Look how cool these are. They come in a roll now, but these are a 4-inch target. But I love the impact points on them. I'll leave you guys a link down below if you guys are interested in these. They're really great targets. Also today we're going to shoot the just that we ran over the chrono, the 25 grain slugs, the H&N slugs, hollow point, and we'll see how well they group. Just going to shoot 5 shots. Remember, we're looking at grouping, not so much if it hits the bullseye or not. I'll do my best to try to hit that. A little bit of wind, but we're using a heavier pellet, so let's see what happens. Anyway, go ahead and take a look. All right, let's see how well we do. A little bit of wind, but it shouldn't be too bad here. Let's see. That's one. And 2. 3. 4. One more. So I've got a pretty good group going there. I'm probably going to jinx it now. And 5. I guess I didn't. That's a pretty good group, if I do say so myself, from 40 plus yards out. So anyway, there you go. Let's move on to the next segment. All right, let's test the Challenger Pro here as far as the pull weight goes on the trigger. I can tell you right up front, this is more of a hunting trigger rather than a target trigger because it's not overly light, but I was able to adjust it a little bit, so let's see what it breaks at. All right, we got our trusty Lyman trigger gauge. Let's give it a pull. All right, 3 pounds. So it's a 3-pound trigger, even. It's not too heavy, somewhat controllable. I'd like a little bit lighter trigger, I think, if I'm target shooting, but not bad. Let's move on to the next segment. Let's do a little plinking with our Challenger Pro here. Now, I have this set up a little bit different, as you can see. I put Terry's from Buck and Rail, his suppressor, on this. Because honestly, without a suppressor, this gun is not even close to backyard friendly. It is super, super loud. It really is. You put one of his suppressors on, and they're less than 30 bucks. It quiets this thing down. You can shoot this in your backyard all day long, and we'll demonstrate that. So also for fun, you saw during the chrono test and actually during the accuracy test, I was shooting this thing at full power, which is about 180 bar. But just for fun, I adjusted the regulator and moved it down to just 100 bar. Okay, with 100 bar, we're going to shoot the same H&N slugs. We're going to average kind of right around 900 feet per second with these 25 grain slugs, which is going to give us like 42, 43 foot-pounds of energy. But I'll talk more about this at the end. But the difference is I'm going to be able to now get 5 full magazines out of it. So if you're kind of plinking in the backyard, that's what you want to do, is crank this thing down. And this rifle has that diversity, which is great. You can adjust the air through the transfer port as well as the regulator. So we're our usual 40 plus yards back for our plinking. Go ahead and take a quick look at that. We're going to knock down some steel eggs, shotgun shell. I got a little pellet can there. Anyway, we're going to knock that stuff down. And we're just going to have fun here. But let's see how we do here. All right. Let's start with the pellet can on the far left. All right. See, it's still, even though we've cranked this thing down, it's still putting out, like I said, over 40 foot-pounds of energy. So it's just like perfect for shooting little objects. Okay, shotgun shell. And watch these steel eggs go down. All right, the white one. See, it still hits amazing. But you notice how quiet it is. But it's making these heavy steel eggs just dance around. And let's see, got 2 more here. And 1 more. Got 2 there. Knocked them both off. Yeah, this thing is pretty amazing. And you hear how quiet it is with the suppressor. It's unreal. In fact, so this has the 1/2 by 20 thread on it. So I just got one of Terry's suppressors, designed for 22 caliber, threw it on there, and oh my God, what a difference. It makes this rifle an absolute pleasure to shoot. All right, let's move on to the next segment, and I'm also going to cover how to adjust the regulator for you. All right, let's wrap this up with our conclusion on our AEA Challenger Pro. Well, I think the performance was pretty doggone good. It's a pretty nice rifle. Overall, yeah, excellent performance. Really is. But like anything else, I always bring you guys the negatives as well as the positives. My number one negative on this is just that the trigger is non-adjustable. It's a little heavy. Now, when you lower the regulator, I noticed this. You lower the regulator so it's shooting at less pressure. The trigger becomes a little bit softer. So actually, when I was doing the plinking and I had this set at 100 bar, the trigger was phenomenal. So, but my number one negative would be the trigger itself as far as the pull weight goes. And honest God, that's pretty much it. The positives, let's get into the positives because I have a lot of them. I really do. My number one positive is the diversity of this rifle, okay? It can be set up for any type of shooting styles, whatever you're into. If you're into target shooting, if you're into hunting, this gun can be set up to your liking. It can be set up as far as whatever pellet you want to shoot. There's just no limit to it. It really is. So if you want to hunt, you can get 70 plus foot-pounds of energy out of it and 36 shots, full 3 magazines, that's at a full charge. Or if you want to do some plinking like I did, and you can drop down the regulator to 100 bar and get around 45 foot-pounds of energy, and you're going to get yourself about 60 shots, about 5 magazines. So terrific diversity with this rifle. I love that. In fact, when I was talking about lowering the regulator, you guys saw, obviously, when we were doing the chrono test, the high velocity this shoots. And you can even get higher velocity out of it because you can buy, they sell heavier duty hammer springs. So they have the heavier hammer springs that you can put in there, and then you can crank up that regulator. I'm going to show you in just a minute how to adjust that. But let's take a quick look at the chart. I just want to show you guys because we were talking about the shot count. So I charted this out, and I set it at 100 bar. And so we average right around 900 feet per second. And you get about 60 shots out of that. And you're right around 45 foot-pounds of energy. So that's pretty doggone cool if you think about it. And that was with a heavy pellet. That wasn't with a light pellet. That was with a 25 grain slug in 22 caliber. That's a big pellet. It really is. So you can see how you can set this up to whatever your shooting style is, or whatever you're doing. You might want to be a plinker one weekend, you might be a hunter next, but this rifle is fully adjustable for that. And also, if you're one of those guys, if you looked at that chart, if you're one of these guys that can only fill your gun to 3,000 PSI, you can still use this gun. You're going to get less magazines. You're going to get about 2 magazines out of it. You'll get about 20, 24 shots out of it, but you can fill it to 3,000 PSI. And again, you can adjust the regulator and you can adjust this transfer port. But let's go ahead, since we're talking about it, let's get into the regulator. In order to adjust the regulator, there can't be any gas in it. You get no air. Got to get rid of the air. So what you can do, it really doesn't have a degasser, but what you can do is just shoot it down as low as you can, and it doesn't take long. Just make sure your transfer port's on the max, and shoot that down. And then when it gets down to next to nothing, this little gauge right here, just unscrew it. It's not difficult at all. Just unscrew it, and the remaining air will come out. When that happens, this tank is just hand tight. You unscrew this tank. And what I'm going to show you is this is what's on the inside, right? This is threaded into the back portion. So when you take this tank off, this is what's going to be exposed. Okay, so let's get into that. Now I can move this out of the way. Actually, guys, I'm just going to set this down right here real quick. We'll bring it back up because I just want to make sure. Okay, so when you pull that tank off, this is what's going to be exposed here. And all you have, it'll actually be, this will be towards the top, just like that. And there's one of 2 styles. Let me show you the 2 styles. These are the 2 styles that you're going to get. They're obviously just little different regulators, but just so they look familiar. Okay, one of them takes an 18 millimeter. That would be this size. This is an 18 millimeter nut right here. So what you're going to do is you're going to loosen up that nut. You're also going to need a 16mm Allen wrench. And so what you want to do is, first of all, like I said, you're going to loosen this nut up. And keep in mind, you're doing this right on the gun. The only thing you did was remove that tank. Okay, so you're going to loosen up this nut, and then you're going to start, you want to start from 0. So you're going to bring this in, not till it's tight, just till it's just snug, till it's bottomed out right there. Okay, so what you're going to want to do is from this point, and figure you got a barrel coming across the top here. You're going to put your Allen wrench in here, and to get 100 bar, you're going to just get one full turn. So there's one turn there, and then obviously you would tighten this into place with the wrench, just like this. This would be tightened into place, and that would be set for 100 bar. Now, if you want, obviously if you wanted 150 bar, then what you would do is you would do 1.5 turns. So again, simple, 1.5. Now you're at 150 bar. Then the maximum on this is about 1 3/4, and that's going to get you 180 bar. And with the stock hammer spring, that's the most you're going to be able to do that. Now, as I said before, you can upgrade your hammer spring. You can get a different hammer spring, a heavier one, if you want to get more power out of it. And then you can go up a little bit more with the pressure on this. But for the stock spring, you're looking at 180 bar, which is about 2,600 psi. So in other words, this would be regulated at 2,600 psi. Every shot coming out would be 2,600 psi. Your 100 bar is about 1,450. 150 bar, you're looking at 2,175. But it's that easy. So anyway, so you find your spot, your adjustment. You tighten this back up, and this is going to be on the gun, right? So you're going to keep your Allen wrench in place there, and then you're just going to tighten this nut, just snug it up just like that. So that way it doesn't go anywhere. And then simply, you're going to screw your canister back in, and you're done, and refill it. That's it. And what that will do, it will adjust your regulator right here. So when you fill it up, obviously your tank pressure is here on the bottom, but this will be your new regulated pressure. So as you can see, this one here is set right around 100 bar right now, and that's what I charted it with. But anyway, so very simple adjustment. And then you also have your transfer port, which is right here. There's an Allen on the back side. You just loosen it, and you can adjust this transfer port. And what that does, it regulates how much air flows through that port. Okay, that's all it is. Now it's different than just simply regulating the gun. The regulator keeps that pressure the same. The transfer port just takes the existing pressure, and you can reduce it. So like I said, depending on the pellet that you're using, whether it be a heavier one or a lighter one, you can totally dial this rifle in. Like I said, the diversity on this rifle is fantastic. It really is. Another great thing on this, you can get the adapter for this, and I showed you this because this rifle is really loud. It's pushing out a lot of air. But you can get this adapter. I know they sell it at the pellet shop there. And then you can go pick up yourself a suppressor. And these suppressors from Terry, a buck rail, incredible. I cannot believe that there's a suppressor that you can get for under 30 bucks that works like this. And you guys heard it. I mean, it is night and day difference. It really is. And you just screw that baby on there. It's like that. Not to mention it's good looking too. You guys see that? It's good looking. But makes quite the package because it makes it totally backyard friendly, which is great. But anyway, the versatility of this gun is absolutely amazing. And let's talk a little bit. The accuracy. The accuracy was fantastic. It really was. You saw that. We shot a great group at 40 yards. And then our plinking, we couldn't miss. We absolutely couldn't miss. So the Challenger Pro is a pretty awesome rifle. It really is. So you ask yourself, you know, how would you rate this gun? Well, me personally, it's getting 4.5 stars. And the only reason I'm dinging it on that half star is because the trigger. I like a little lighter target trigger. But overall, it's still not a bad trigger. So this definitely warrants 4.5 stars. So if you guys are interested in these, check out the pellet shop out in New York. They carry them, they specialize in them, and their customer service is absolutely superb. And also Utah Airguns also has these, so you can check that out if you like. But great rifle. Again, I cannot push the diversity on it enough. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this episode of Airgun Detectives. Don't forget, this is where we take the mystery out of the airgun. Until next time, I hope you and your families are doing well and you're getting lots of shooting in. So take care and God bless.